Narayana Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gaurandana Rajajarana Gaurandana Rajajarana Yamunatira Manachari Yamunatira Manachari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giridhari Gopijana Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandana Bhajajanandana Yashodanandana Bhajajanandana Tira Tira Chari Radha Radha Nam Vishnu Bhatma Nam Vishnu Rajichen Total Sisima AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Ki Jai Antakuti Vaishnava Ki Jai Amacharya Shri Haridas Him Sikha Hosta Krishna Satan. Rosan Shadait Gidanha Asari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath. Amakunda Radha Kunda. Iri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Madhdev Dham Ki Jai. Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Guru Maya Ki Jai. Malay Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. All glories to the Assembled Lord. Okamanandi Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. My Bhagavatam, second canto, 9th chapter, answers by citing the Lord's version, text 13. Vajishnubi Yaha Paritaha Virajate Lasat Vimana Avalibihi Maha Atmanam Yojanana Yotmana Ramada Uttama Ajibihi Savidyut Abra Valibhi Yata Nabaha Vajishnubhya Parito Virajate Sadvimana Vibhir Mahatmanam Yotamana Ramadotamajubi Savidyut Abra Alibhir Yatanabaha Vajishnubhya Parito Virajate Satvimana Valibhir Mahatmanam Vidyotamana Pramadotamajubi Savidyut Abra Tanabaha Vajishnubhya Parito Virajate Lasadvimana Valibhir Mahatmanam Vidyotamana Pramadotamajubi Savidyut Abra Valibhir Tanabaha अभ्रावलिभिर्यथा नभः जिष्णुभिर्या परितो विराजते लसत् विमानावलिभिर्महात्मनम् विद्योतमाना प्रमदोतमाद्युभिः सविद्युता ब्रावलिभिर्यथा नभः Brājišnubiryah parito virājate lasat vimāna valibir mahatmanam vidyotamanah pramadotama diubir savidyut abravalibir yathanabha.
Rajishnubhirya parito virajate Vasad vimana vidibhir mahatmanam Vidyotamana pramadotama Savidyud Savidyud abha vidibhir yata nabaha Rajishnurbirya parito virajate Lasad vimana valibir mahatmanam Vidyotamana pramadotamadhyubihi Savidyuda bravalibir yatha nabaha
Ajishnubhirya parito virajate Lasad vimana halibhir mahatmanam Vidyotamana pramadotyamadhyabhi Savidyudabhra yatha nabaha.
Bhajajasnubhirya parito vrajate Lasat vimana valabir mahatmanam Vidyotamana paramodamatyabihi Savidyu abravalabir yatat namaha
Jishnubirya parito virajate Vasad vimana valibir mahatmanam Vidyotamana pramadotamadhyubi Savidyuda bravalabir yatanava Rajashnubirya parito virajate Lasad vimana valibir mahatmanam Vidyotamana pramadotyamadhyubi Savidyurabravalibhiryuta Nabha.
Ladies?
Rajishnu Biryata Parito Virajate Lasad Vimana Valibir Mahatmanam Vidyotamana Pramadotamadhubi Savidyut Abravalibir Yathanabam. Brajishnu Biryak Parito Virajate Parito Virajate Lasat Vimana Valibir Mahatmanam Vidyotamana Pramadotamadhyubhi Savidyut Abharavalibhir Yatavanabha.
Vajishnubhya parito virajate Lasad vimana valibhir mahatmanam Vidyotamana pramadotamadhyubhi Savidyurabravalabhir yatanavaha.
Rajishnubihi, by the glowing. Yaha, the Vaikuntha Lokas. Paritaha, surrounded by. Virajate, thus situated. Lasat, brilliant. Vimana, airplanes. Avalibihi, assemblage. Mahatmanam, of the great devotees of the Lord. Vijyotamanaha, beautiful like lightning. Pramada, ladies. Uttama, celestial. Adyubhi, adyubhi, by complexion. Savidyut, with electric lightning. Abravalibihi, with clouds in the sky. Yata, as it were. Nabaha, the sky. Translation. The Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas, or devotees of the Lord. Ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions, and all these combined together appear just like the sky, decorated with both clouds and lightning. Report?
It appears that in the Vaikuntha planets there are also airplanes brilliantly glowing, and they are occupied by the great devotees of the Lord with ladies of celestial beauty as brilliant as lightning. As there are airplanes, so there must be different types of carriages like airplanes, but they may not be driven machines, as we have experienced in this world. Because everything is of the same nature of eternity, bliss, and knowledge, the airplanes and carriages are of the same quality as Brahman. Although there is nothing except Brahman, one should not mistakenly think that there is only void and no variegatedness. Thinking like that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Otherwise, no one would have such a misconception of voidness in Brahman. As there are airplanes, ladies, and gentlemen, so there must be cities and houses and everything else just suitable to the particular planets. One should not carry the idea of imperfection from this world to the transcendental world and not take into consideration the nature of the atmosphere as completely free from the influence of time, etc., as described previously.
One is the hearers are being advised to remember that this is Brahman, the Vaikuntras are expansion of the Lord's transcendental form. And it's the form of his planet, his Dhamma, is as pure as Brahman itself, as his effulgence. As his effulgence is bright and not contaminated by any material substance. So the Vaikuntha Lokas, planets, and the people and the animals, if we have animals here, as we were discussing previously, there must be some in the spiritual world, because the spiritual world is the real place, the real home of all living entities, real place that one can domicile perpetually. Then the material world may have a reflection of that. And we get some idea of that here in this world. We like to be home. They write songs about going home, staying home. And when we feel this is our place, we belong, we won't be removed from here, we're safe, at home, home sweet home. We feel this is a nice place to be. So we're looking to go home, back to Godhead. We're thinking this is our home. That's a mistake. If it's our home, why are we forced to leave here? Of course, the general mass of people have no idea what they are. So they don't know where they are. How can they know where they are? They don't even know what they are. And they don't realize they're souls. And the soul exists forever. It's never destroyed. Bhagavad Gita says, the soul is not burned. It cannot be cut. It cannot be withered by the wind or moistened by water. It's unborn, ever existing, undying, primeval, not slain. When the body is slain, when the body ceases to work, that doesn't mean the soul inside the person. Like if you drive a car and the car stops working. I think we just had that happen. It stopped working. But the people got out, driver got out, drove another car. And a better car. So it's possible to go up and get a better model than we have now. In other words, when one gives up this body, material body, he gets another body. And it may be a better body with more facilities, longer life, stronger, more beautiful, more opulent, or maybe a lower body. There's many types of bodies to choose from. In the material world, 8,400,000. Exactly. And you can take your pick. You have the Shalajan Navalakshani, 900,000 species in the water. You like to be in the water? You can pick one of those and live in the water. 900,000 fish, those types of things. Shalajan Navalakshani, Stavaram Lakshadam Shati, 2 million trees and plants. Like to dig in, like to set your roots down. You can get the body of a tree. You can long lifetime. Trees on this planet, they say they're some 2,000 years old. So see how long they live. Longer than most countries don't last that long. 1,000, 2,000 years. They last longer than human beings. They live a long time. If you like to live a long time, you can set your mind. You just have to set your mind on, that's what I want. I want to have this type of body. Yanti deva bhata devam yanti patrivadaha. And whatever you think of at the time of giving up this body, you get that. You go there. So if you're thinking of being a tree, Srila Prabhupada gave a hint how you can get a tree's body, go around naked. Trees, they live naked. So he was telling the hippies, because he sometimes went to visit the hippies in their, where they domiciled. They had one place up in Northern California. Many of the hippies, they were not wearing clothes. So he explained, if you don't want to wear clothes, it's all right. Then your next body, you get a body of a tree. You can stand up naked for hundreds of years. So that's trees. And there's Vimshati. Yojana Stavram Vimshati. Stavram Vimshati. What is it? Then there's insects and reptiles. They're in a category. And 1,100,000 birds are 1 million. 1 million species of birds. And then there's 4-legged animals, 3 million. And then 400,000 human species. So you have your choice. But in the spiritual world, you have better choices. Even in the spiritual world, like whose lokas, the trees are happy. The trees are satisfied. They're completely in bliss. So to be a tree in, say, for example, Vrindavan, that's a great opportunity. In fact, the great devotee, Uddhava, was so happy in Vrindavan that he said, I would be happy to live in Vrindavan or even outside, a little bit outside of Vrindavan, as a blade of grass. And then the dust from the feet of the gopis, devotees of Krishna, would land on me. And I'd be so happy. But imagine what kind of bliss, that's the bliss that the blades of grass are getting. Just imagine what kind of atmosphere that is. People take drugs, hallucinogens, because they want to experience something a little more exciting than our humdrum cities. And so they take these drugs and then they hallucinate that everything's moving, everything's alive. And they get some pleasure out of that. May not be true, however, but their minds think like that. But that's because there is truth in that in the spiritual world, everything's alive. Everyone is alive, fully conscious, and fully in ecstasy. Satchidananda. Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalpabriksha. Lakshabhati. Kalpabriksha, desire trees. You can approach a desire tree in the spiritual world and ask for anything you like. Of course, devotees only ask for things to enhance their service to Krishna. They don't ask for selfish things for their own material enjoyment. If they want that, then they come to the wrong place. Then they have to go back to the material world for those things. But it doesn't mean that there's no pleasure for the living entities in the spiritual world, because they're not trying for pleasure like that. Doesn't mean there is none. It's that they get unlimited pleasure without endeavoring for it. Just like even here in this material world, people get unlimited material miseries without asking for it. Comes quite easily. So in the spiritual world, the unlimited pleasure comes quite easily. And everyone can avail themselves. And they have no desire to come back down here again. They don't have any desire to come to the material world. Because the material world is far lower in stature. All the things that we don't like are in the material world. The things we like, the material world can't supply. We want to live forever, for example. But we can't live forever in the material world. So everyone's life is a tragedy. They say, well, that's too negative. It's true. Everyone dies at the end. And so everyone's life is a tragedy. There's no one who comes out and living like they say, and so he lived happily ever after. As they say in the children's stories. And everyone lived happily ever after. And the children, they like that. They grow up thinking that there's places like that. Then they get a little older and they find out, no, it's just a fairy tale. You don't live forever, happily ever after. You live miserably for a short time, then you get another miserable body. And you live short time. This is reality. Don't be a realist. Don't be so realistic. Think positive. Maybe you'll live. Maybe you will. Maybe they'll come up with a cure for cancer. If we could only come up with a cure for it. Some people leave all their money, whatever money they have left over at the end of life, they leave it to the cancer research. I think it's got to be the most wonderful thing if we get a cure to cancer. So many people will be saved. We get so much pleasure out of thinking how nice it would be. But Krishna says, Kalayam Shashvatam. Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Puna Arvitan Arjuna. Mamupeja to Konteya. Puna Arjuna Nivijate. This material world from Brahma Loka, and Brahma should know. He's speaking. So Brahma knows what life is like in his planet. And then down to the lowest planet, Krishna said, they're all places of misery where birth and death take place. So give it up. Don't try for pleasure here. It's not to be found. You have to die here. And you have to get old. And you have to get disease. And then you have to be born again. How can you solve it? Prabhupada said these are the four problems of life that should be contemplated. How can we overcome these? They have no material cure. But the cure is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. That if one just develops his transcendental affection for the Lord through devotional service, then there's no more birth, no more death, no more old age, no more disease. The bodies exist forever. Satchidananda. Eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And everything is like that. Spiritual. We may have become so, shall we say, disillusioned that there's no place like that. I've been to so many. I've gone to Hawaii. It's not like that. Hawaii has a few nice things, but there's so many miserable things going on in Hawaii. People are dying. People are getting old. I've been to Hawaii a few times. I thought it was going to be heaven. It was not heavenly. Still people are envious. Still people, give you a hard time. Still you get diseases. Still people steal from you. You're sitting there having a nice time in the sun. You go, okay, let's go home now. Where's the car? Where's the car? So why? You're not supposed to have your car stolen. That's the material world. But the spiritual world, everything is blissful. Just like we want it to be, just like they wrote in Peter Pan. I remember that because that Never Never Land really appealed to me. That was the thing I remembered most out of those fairy tales. Is that place where you never get old. You remain young forever. Stuck in my mind. And it's not real. It's not true. That's a terrible letdown. But imagine if there was a place, there is a place, and Krishna is playing his flute, and everyone's following Krishna, playing their flute, and they play their instruments and sing and dance, and they're completely happy. And they go to some other place and invite the people there, and they have a big feast together. Sadhana, delicious, thousands of preparations. You can eat there. You don't get indigestion. Here you overeat. Indigestion. Problems. There, eating is blissful and fasting is blissful. But eating is especially blissful, spiritual world. We have fasting in Krishna consciousness, sometimes for renunciation. But that just, as they say in the material world, they say that their difficulties, they add spice to their life. But that type of spice, you get destroyed and chopped up in pieces and all horrible things, blown up like nuclear. That type of spice we don't need so much in our life. But the spice of life is, yes, in the spiritual world they have some austerities. You find that sometimes the great devotees, they undergo fasting, not eating. But that's a type of ecstasy that comes from that makes spiritual life even more blissful. Otherwise, why would they do it? You know, the Lord wouldn't want them to do something that is actually painful or harmful to them. No, he wouldn't want them to do that. But he appreciates the austerities of the great devotees. They undergo. They give up certain things. Like, for example, Dhruva Maharaj gave up eating and was just breathing. He stopped breathing also. Because meditating on Krishna in full samadhi is more blissful than having nice breath and food and these things. But anyway, the point is that the impersonalists, they bring their misconceptions of displeasure, all their tragedies and horrible memories of the material world, they're trying to get rid of it. So they just want to imagine that Brahman, there's nothing like that. No people, no men, no women, no housing, no time, no, all these things. What is there? It's just Brahman, void or emptiness, or like light, just pure light. But no, there's all the varieties without the inebrities. All the inebrities are taken away. And in the spiritual world, all the varieties are just, everything is better than the rest. They're all just wonderful. Completely transcendental. Nobody's envious because everyone has everything they could ever want. Completely free from envy. Of course, an envious person, even if he has everything he wants, he still wants more. But there's no envy in their hearts because Krishna is so expert. He knows how to arrange everything so everyone's completely satisfied. And in the material world, he knows how to arrange everything so everyone's not satisfied. some people say, why would God make a world like this where there's so many miseries? Where they have to undergo suffering? A little child born deformed has to stay in a wheelchair his whole life. Why would God do that? If I were God, I could think of a better thing to do than put him the whole life in a chair. What would you do if you were God? And we start, get a pencil and paper out and start writing things down. Ultimately, a person who's thoughtful realizes he wouldn't be able to, it'd be terrible to be God. How would he maintain so many millions and trillions of little living entities with unlimited desires? Well, Krishna, the real God, has done that. He knows how to entertain them in the material world. He knows how to rectify them. You have to see that this material world is a rectification. It's like if you go to the hospital, it's not just that you go to the hospital to get painful injections. That's not the only thing they have in a hospital. They also have, that's part of the rectification. You have to take some bitterness, some bitter pills to regain your health. So the rehabilitation section is the material world. And here's where we go to get rehabilitated. Now, rehabilitated means a place where there's no impurity. Therefore, we have to go to Krishna consciousness places in the material world where there's no diseases, there's no impurities, no lust, no greed, no envy. I actually experienced this. I'm sure you've experienced it. That being with the devotees is like that. You're not plagued with people that are envious of you. We don't have to think like that. I'm sure he's trying to get my job, my position. He wants to take the trash out. He wants to carry these books around. Envy, we don't have to worry about people being envious of our position. And we don't become envious of others' position. We shouldn't think like that. That I want to, if I could take his position, be so good, then I'd be able to enjoy. I'd be able to enjoy myself. If I were like Ambarish Das, great grandson of Ford, I could really be a happy devotee. Then he wrote to Prabhupada. You read one letter, Prabhupada. He wrote to Prabhupada in the early days. And Srila Prabhupada, I'm sorry to bring this to you, but I feel more like a bank than a bhakta. Because everywhere I go, all the devotees are asking me for money. So I don't know what to do, Prabhupada. Please tell me. So Prabhupada pointed out that they shouldn't do that. And so having a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be happy in spiritual life. The thing is, when you realize that all that money is to be used in Krishna's service, which he did, and he's doing. Now, he told me once, I had some association with Ambarish sometimes, and one time we were associating, he said, I figure about half my life is gone now, and he figured out how much he'd spent, some millions of dollars. And but the next half of my life, I'm going to spend much more. And he did. He's doing it. Mayapur, Temple of Vedic Planetarium. There's no need to wait, because some people thought, well, it's going to be really magnificent. Prabhupada's description. It's happening. Prabhupada's description of how he wanted it is happening. So this is the spiritual world. Mayapur and Vrindavan, spiritual world, where your dreams can come true. If your dreams are pure, like Srila Prabhupada, he wanted, Bhaktivinoda Thakur dreamed when that day will come when the Russians and the Americans and the Germans and will join together with the Bengalis, and everyone will be dancing. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana. It'll be great. Where everyone will come together. And actually you see it now. You go there, Chinese group. I remember when the first Chinese came, it was great. When the first Russians came, it was great. Now Russians outnumber everybody. When we first came, everyone asked all the white people, are you from America? They'd always say. Now they say, are you from Russia? They're not from Russia. They say, well, everyone's from Russia these days. Yeah, it's great. So from all over the world, from Africa, they're coming in and they're dancing. They're not thinking I'm Russian dancing or I'm African dancing. Everyone's dancing. I'm servant of Krishna, servant of Lord Chaitanya. And this is a way to be fully happy, live in the spiritual world. All the varieties are there. They have all these nice things, vimanas, wonderful airplanes that fly on mantras and sounds, and they don't have to have these horrible big engines that can break down and you have a plane crash. You know, everyone anxiety. As soon as the little alarm goes on, red alarm, bing, bing, and you say, tighten your seatbelts. There's a little jolting. Completely afraid. Holding on to you. Women start screaming. Everybody gets afraid because they think now I'm dead. Now I'm going to be finished. It's not that blissful. Maybe something we've had experience. But these airplanes, these vimanas, they're not like that. No question of crashing. You're eternal. The bodies are eternal there. So that's the real place, full of varieties, full of all beautiful and transcendental fragrances and forms and thoughts and emotions, relationships, all wonderful, all completely selfless, full of love, no cheating, no ending, no fear, no depression, completely positive ecstasy. And it just goes on getting better and better all the time. That's what we want. And that's the spiritual world. So this is for those people who are looking for that type of place. Next time you see a realtor, you just describe what you want. I want to live in a place where there's beautiful birds and flowers and everyone gets along. There's no stealing. They don't have any places like that right now. But they're available. But you have to go beyond the material world into the spiritual world. And that comes from Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Keep chanting and go back to home, back to God. Thank you very much. Krishna's not in the